What is up, everybody? Today I am here with Kamille Rose Soler. She is a peak performance coach. Not only a peak performance coach, but she is my peak performance coach, and she has totally changed my life. Whether I think she kind of realized it because I tell her a lot. She specializes in coaching realtors and entrepreneurs with their mindset, because mindset can totally mess you up. And mine, I was like tweaked in a certain direction, and Kamille like tweaked my mindset, so it totally changed the trajectory of my life and my business. Not already. Every time I talk to her, I cry because she makes you think. She gets inside your head and inside your soul, and she makes you think. Dang, I have to delete it. Like you're already, but every time.
Aww.
So she's had a huge impact on my life. I met her. I went to a live conference with my real estate coach, Josh Smith, and she spoke there, and she just like hit it. And so my wife and I started coaching with her, and it's been life-changing. And I've asked her to come on today so she can just give you a little taste of what she can do for you. And just following whatever tidbits that she shares, this can be game-changing for you. So please listen very, very carefully what she has to say and implement what she says. She gives you implementable things. It's not just like this foo-foo stuff. And I often think that, dude, I don't need any more coaching. I know what I got to do. I just got to sit down and hunker down and do all these things every day. But I'm telling you, it is mindset. It's game changing. So Kamille, welcome to my channel.
Thank you,
Super excited to have you on. And first, I'd love you to just introduce yourself and tell a little bit about your story.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, Trevor, thank you. And thank you to everybody listening. I never know where to look on these things. So don't mind me if I'm just looking at Trevor, because such a handsome face. It's hard not to look at you. Plus you got your power color on today. But yeah, so I had the honor of meeting Trevor at, I believe it was Josh Smith's GSD Mode, like alumni conference. And he had me speak, and I'm Josh's peak performance coach as well. So like Trevor said, I do mindset coaching. Now I don't tell people that they'll typically cry when they talk to me, because nobody will want to work with me. So I focus on the business side. I love it though. But what Trevor just hit you with is the truth. Like, because when you get to the truth, it really does set you free. And that's really my goal, is to give people emotional and mental freedom, particularly realtors and entrepreneurs. And if you're wondering why realtors, I wondered that for a long time too. It almost felt like fate just kind of put me on the path to work with realtors, because before I became an executive coach, which is when we're filming this right now, probably be about 7 or 8 years for me. But even prior to that, I was doing branding and marketing for realtors or anybody in the real estate industry. So day in and day out, I'm sitting with realtors, taking out of their mind their vision, their brand, what they wanted their business to be about. But naturally, when you start taking stuff out with business, you take things out with everything else. You know, you hear about what they care about with their family, what they care about in their community, what they care about just in their life in general. But with that comes also the struggles. Well, Kamille, I can't really figure this out because I'm kind of struggling with this right now. So after a while, I felt like this kind of feels like therapy. It almost feels like life coaching, even though I didn't know what life coaching was or coaching was, because I was a consultant and I just knew branding. Then one day a mentor of mine said, Kamille, why don't you consider being an executive coach? I was like, sure. What the heck is that? He's like, basically what you're doing now is like, you help us to identify these problems that we can't always see, right? They call it the blind spots. And growing up, I realized when I was doing my own coaching, reflecting on my past, I grew up around real estate. I am the daughter of a broker. So ever since I was a little girl, my father became a real estate agent. And I was sitting in our 1991 white Camry with a Thomas Guide on my lap every weekend with my dad, as he would tell me, hey, find me this corner so we could put our open house sign there. So I'm sitting there going C4, D5, finding the route on the Thomas Guide.
I'm sorry. I've done Thomas Guide. That's how I met Leela. I did Thomas Guide for her when she was routing herself. It sucks.
Right. So I was Siri before there was Siri, right? Like my dad would be like, find me this and map it there. So I knew the hustle. I knew the lifestyle. I also knew the finances of it, because I would see us in feast or famine as a family. And he was in real estate back in like the late 80s, early 90s. And it was a really crazy time. I just remember some months were really great, and I'd see my dad really confident and really excited. And then other ones, we'd be pinching pennies. And my mom was also finishing her nursing license at the time. So there was so much happening, me being little, my dad struggling with real estate, my mom going through nursing. And then I also saw the impact that it took on our family, because eventually my parents' marriage fell apart. I mean, there were so many stressors that came with life, emotionally, financially. And as a little girl, I used to think, well, it's real estate's fault. You know, it caused so much stress on my dad. It caused so much stress on us financially That's why things fell apart. That's why he was angry all the time. That's why he was sad all the time. And so I grew up hating the industry because I just thought, it's so volatile. It's
Ruins
so,
families.
yeah, it ruins families. It ruined mine, right? But I didn't know any of that until I was an adult and went through my own ups and downs and started doing some self-development coaching myself. I remember being 27. I hit a really low point in my life. I had no job, moved back into my mom's house. A relationship fell apart. I had no car. And here I am with 2 degrees from the #1 public university in the world. And I'm crying on my mom's bathroom floor, feeling like a total loser. Even though everybody on the outside was looking at me thinking, oh, well, Kamille's great. She's fine. She's traveled the world. She's so smart. She could have any job she wants. But when I looked into the mirror, I did not see a woman that I loved or liked. And that was a really scary moment for me. Because again, what was that?
What turned it around?
I think it was just finally, I call it my surrender moment. Because I remember being on the bathroom floor in my mom's house, just crying, and then finally just giving it up to God and saying, you know what? I don't know who I am or what you want me to be, so show me. And I remember the moment that I did that, it was almost like my life just started taking on like a momentum of its own. And I decided in that moment, you know what? I'm not just going to read these self-development books because I've always been into it. I was reading like Tony Robbins, Wayne Dyer, Oprah, the whole nine, but I didn't do the work. And that's where it changed. So I invested in my first seminar. I was like, okay, I'm going to go to this Tony Robbins seminar. I'll see what it's all about. And I went that summer and I was doing the work. I flew to Chicago with some girlfriends, had no money. I was like, I'll just figure this out, put it on a credit card. It ended up being my game-changing moment because I was in a room of 5,000 people wanting also to change. Standing in the back, people are screaming up and down. And I remember what I called the defining moment. So if the surrender moment was in the bathroom, the defining moment was when I finally invested in myself and took action. Because it doesn't happen until you start moving. And I think the issue that most people have is like they think they have to have it all figured out before they take the first step. Right. And I remember it was Dr. Martin Luther King who would say, it's like, you don't have to see the entire staircase just to take the first step. I think about that. He probably didn't see the end of the civil rights movement. He just knew what he believed in. Right. And he had to just move forward. Right. So I took a step forward. I had no idea what the seminar would turn into. And there was a moment when I was sitting in the back of the room and Tony Robbins was on stage, jumping, yelling. There's 5,000 people going crazy, jumping up and down. And I remember feeling kind of like this surge of electricity running through the top of my head down to the tips of my toes. And it was like I heard a whisper say, and this is exactly what I need you to do. I remember feeling like so stoked in that moment. I was like, yeah, that's it. This is the thing. Like, I want to speak on stages. I want to help people. I want to coach them. I knew it was for me. And then the second thought came in, and the second thought was, yeah, but Kamille, you're 5'2" and a woman of color, and he's a 6'7" white guy with a booming voice. Of course, people are going to listen to him. No one's going to listen to you. You're so tiny. They won't even be able to see you on stage. And I kid you not, Trevor, like I was so shocked that I had that thought also lingering in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
I remember feeling so depressed. I walked out of the room like really sad. Like I just had my life calling and my super subconscious limiting beliefs collide.
Right.
All at the same time, right? You get this excitement and then you beat yourself up and you're like, yeah, but who are you to do it? Like it makes sense for that person, but never for you.
Right. Somebody else is easy.
Right. And so I remember this gentleman walking past me at the conference saying, hey, honey, how you doing? You having a good time? And I said, yeah, sir, thanks. And then he looked at me again. I was like, it doesn't look like you're having a good time. So he saw right through all my BS. And I explained to him what I'm explaining to you now. And he looked at me dead in the eye and just said really calmly, you realize Mother Teresa was 4'10" and she changed the world. Yeah. And then it kind of like hit me in that moment, like these stories that I had of who deserved to be impactful, who deserved to be successful, didn't look anything like me. And then in a split moment, I had somebody else with a different set of eyes who said, you're kidding me, right? Like, do you realize one of the most inspirational, impactful people on the planet was smaller than you and she barely spoke? And it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was just like, oh. And he goes, it doesn't matter how big you are physically. And then he pointed at my heart. He goes, it matters what's in there. And he's like, and if you honestly feel that God's put that on your heart, then you need to go with that. And I was like, and then he goes, all right, honey, have a great time. And then totally just disappeared. Like, yeah. And I never saw him again. So
This angel just appeared in your life.
yeah. So I would say there were steps that it took for me to get to where I'm at right now. And the journey's still continuing, but it was the first, I would say it was kind of like the acceptance that I was in a tough spot, right? I was at a place in my life that I didn't like. Then it was the full surrendering that, okay, something needs to change. And then it was investing in myself and taking action. But see, if the first two don't happen, right? I see a lot of people who invest themselves and they take action, but the truth is they haven't accepted the fact that there's an issue.
Right.
They're just kind of putting money towards something to cover it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And they also haven't surrendered it. And surrender can be, to God, it could be to the higher power, whatever it is that you believe in, but truly a letting go of like, all right, I need to do something and I can't fully control every step of the process. And then once I did that, then the investment in myself took place. So you have to take action, right? I also don't believe that you just wish it and then it comes.
Right.
Yeah, you have to move forward.
It's action. It's taking that first step in. And then the path, sometimes they say the path illuminates it. You take that first step, it's like, oh, I can see the next one.
Yeah. And then I would say the next after that I came to realize upon further reflection is that then there will be light bearers on the way. So like you said, the path will get illuminated, but there will be people who come into your life who will help kind of like give you a little lantern, right? And to accept that help and to be discerning too about who, right? So that could be a coach, it could be a mentor, it could be a friend, it could be just somebody on a YouTube channel or on a podcast that says something and just kind of hits you.
Right.
But that's an illuminating moment. And those are light bearers that are helping you kind of go through this dark cavern of your journey.
Yep.
But you do not do this alone. That's the big thing here is that don't be so prideful or arrogant to think like, well, I got to do it. It's just me. I don't believe in that. Like I came from a really big Filipino family and I'm only the way that I am because it took like a village to raise me.
To create you.
Yeah. Just recently I went with my fiance to the Philippines where my family's from. And I got to introduce him to even more of my family. And the poor guy, he comes from a really small family. So
he's like, there's more?
Yeah. I already have a big family here in LA. And then it's like, we flew thousands of miles to introduce him to even more family.
Right.
And it's not even like your typical family, right? It's like, I have my aunt and my uncle, and then that one uncle who's not really an uncle, but he's hung around the house for so long, he's an uncle. Right.
Yeah,
but every single one of those people played a role in my upbringing. And I think that is such a beautiful thing when a whole community comes together to raise people up. So that would be the last piece is don't do it alone. You want to have a tribe of people that are rooting for your rise, what I call the success squad. And so I started building mine slowly.
Right. Now, what do you think that now you work primarily with real estate agents and entrepreneurs and CEOs. What is the number one thing that gets people stuck, that gets us stuck, that where every year looks like the year before? Is there one thing that's kind of common with everybody that holds people back?
This is a little bit more general, but there's always a story, right? So there's a story that doesn't align to your true vision for your life. You might not even know what that is yet, but anybody who feels like, oh, it's the same year over and over and over and again, it's only because their perspective is blocked. That's the only thing that ever really changes. There's sayings that, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at begin to change.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So the idea is if I can help you shift your perspective, just change it even slightly. It doesn't even have to be a lot, 2 millimeters of a difference. See something you haven't seen before. I guarantee you the year that you thought was, oh, that was exact same last year as it is this year, vastly different. You just didn't see all the pieces in play. And when you start to see all the other pieces, I didn't realize that person came into my life, or you're right, that opportunity had been knocking, but I just wasn't paying attention. Then you can start taking steps in a new direction. But all it is perspective. It's kind of like if an athlete doesn't try to pay attention to the whole court, the basketball game will look the exact same every time. There's a bunch of guys defending me and I was shooting. A bunch of guys defending me and I was shooting. But if you open up your perspective a little bit, this defense was slightly different than that last defense. Or this team has a specific pattern than that. And so that's why the coach is so helpful, because they are on the sidelines of your life. My job is easy because I get to look at your life objectively and see things you can't.
Right.
Your job is the hard one because you're the one who's got to play
implement.
the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think everybody needs a coach?
No. I think that everybody who is coachable needs a coach.
And what
And I
makes
make
somebody
that
coachable?
they have to be willing to change. That's the bottom line. If you are willing to change, then you are perfect for coaching. Like coaching will be the game changer for you. But if you're the type of person who's like, nah, I don't need help. I don't need people telling me what to do. I'm good the way that I am. A coach will be a waste of their time, the coach's time, and yours.
So tell me, in the whole world, in the real world, we've got people in business and entertainment and sports and all over the place doing all kinds of things. Do many of the most successful people in the world have coaches, or is that just kind of something that's real estate agents just kind of mess with a little bit?
100%. Yeah. If you look at any high performing person, they will have some sort of coach, consultant, mentor, somebody who is in their corner, what I call the wisdom council, that can see things that they can't see. Right. Again, people who are wanting to play at the highest levels of their game, whether, like you said, it be in business, relationships, or sports. You look at top CEOs, you look at Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, they all, even though they were the best at their game, they had a coach for everything.
Right.
So I think the question that most, I'd say mid-level people ask that is incorrect is, do you coach? I think that's the wrong question. The right question is, who is your coach?
Right.
Or who are you coaching with? The assumption should be that you are coaching if you want to play at a high level.
So you think
if you don't,
a very high percentage of successful people have coaches, would you say?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the most common thing I hear about when I'm speaking to a CEO who is successful both in business and family life, is that they're working with a coach or a consultant.
Yeah. And it's easy to think.
Very rare. Very rare.
Like everybody in real estate, we have, everybody's got their limited budgets, and they think, oh, do I get this other new program or this piece of hardware or software or do I invest in a coach? How do you get them when I've invested in coaching, it's always game changing, whether it's with Josh or with my CrossFit coach or with you, it's always like, and it's so much more like this laptop literally right here. I finally got it. I needed a laptop like 3 or 4 years ago. I finally got one in December because last year I had a coach that I was considering for a video. I'm a video guy now. I got a video coach. It was $5,000, but it's the best $5,000 I spent last year.
Yeah.
It's like, it's game changing. It's so much more valuable. I obviously believe in coaches. So I was just asking you just to get your perspective, but obviously as a guy that uses coaches, that's paid for you and paid for Josh, paid for other people.
Yeah.
It's game changing. It's so much more valuable than anything you're going to buy. Anything. Oh, I need new signs or I need new cars. People think I'm successful. I need a Beamer. It's like, no, you don't. You need a coach. I'm just saying it'll have so much more impact than any of that stuff you're going to get that it's ridiculous.
And you use the right word. And that's probably because you've been coaching for so long, is you use the word invest.
Yes.
Right. Because coaching really is an investment in yourself, 100%. You're the rate of return on that. And so another question that I would have people shift is, when you look at coaching, don't look at it as, man, this is going to cost me $5,000, is what is this worth to you?
Oh yeah.
Because if you can answer the question, what is this worth to you? Almost guaranteed, if it's a really good coach, you're going to say 5 times what I paid.
Oh, for sure.
And then so hands down from an investment perspective, if it's worth 5x what you're getting it for, it's a massive deal.
Oh,
right?
Totally.
If your marriage gets saved from it, if your health gets saved, if your peace of mind is the result at the end of 1 year from 25 years of stress, anxiety, and depression, and in 1 year you can turn that around with the right person by your side,
yeah,
I would say that's almost priceless. So it just,
totally.
Yeah, you use the right word, is invest.
It totally an investment.
Yeah.
And you get haters and naysayers and like, you're on YouTube, you're on social media, you get people like, oh, everybody promises, you get stuff like that. It's like, well, and some of us deliver, and you totally deliver. Now, what percentage of us agents do you think are really living up to our full potential as agents? We talk about business. Are we living up to our full potential as an industry? You see, you've talked to a lot of us.
Oh, no, not at all. and I only say this because, again, I grew up in a household
because you've met some, right?
Yeah, well, I've met a few. And I don't think we ever really reach full potential, maybe until like you're at that 100-year mark, 90-year mark, and you're just Yoda status and you're giving your wisdom to others. But for the most part, I think it's an ongoing practice to get rid of the things that are blocking you. Now,
Right.
I see a lot of people who are making the work to live at their potential, and that's more important.
Right.
Because the only way you reach your ultimate potential is by starting to live it out.
Right.
Because I truly believe it's unlimited.
Yeah.
You probably may never experience it, but that's the whole point, is to keep getting to the next level, the next level, the next level.
That's life. That's what brings fulfillment, is like getting to the next level. So, making progress. I mean, creating and progress are two of the things that just, they feed you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Tony Robbins became famous for saying, if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yep.
And so if you're starting to feel bored, or there's no energy, or there's lackluster in your life, then it's because you stopped growing in that particular area.
Right.
Because guaranteed, there's always something to learn.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. The beginner's mindset is a crucial one. So no matter how much you know in an industry, for example, again, we go back to the life of Kobe Bryant. The reason he was such an excellent player is because no matter how good he got at basketball, he was still in the gym 4 a.m. working on the exact same dribbles, the exact same shots.
Yep.
Because he wanted to get to that level of excellence, because the game changes. So why wouldn't you continue to grow and change?
Yeah.
Real estate is going to continue changing, especially with technology. Millennials are going to be buying differently. Homes are going to be built differently. You have all these websites now that are starting to automate the buy and sell process.
Yep.
So how do you as an agent become even more valuable to your clients? You just work on yourself. Because at the end of the day, people will do business that they know, like, and trust. And the more people can really trust you, your skills, your abilities, your presence in their life, now you've become invaluable. No website, no app is going to be able to compete with you, because you have such deep connections and relationships to your clients. They're like, yeah, I know maybe Redfin and Zillow, they might give me more of a percentage on my money back. But I love Trevor and Leela so much that I'm going to work with them. Like, I believe in who they are. I love their lifestyle. Like, yeah, I'm going to work with these people. And that's all they go by.
Yep.
So, but if you're constantly cranky, you're stressed, you're upset, you're more anxious than your own clients, ain't nobody going to work with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, does it matter that we, as real estate agents, that we love what we do? It's a super stressful business, as you know, and you feel like you're on call 24/7. And you could be a Sunday night at 11 o'clock at night, and sometimes you're still talking to lenders. It's just kind of the way of the world. So, is it important for us to love what we do? And is there a time when we should say, you know what, this isn't for me? Or should we try to work on like learning to love it more, or striking a balance more with life and work? What do you suggest for realtors they've been in the business for a long time, and like, this is what I do, it's all I know how to do, I'm stuck? What do you suggest for them? I guess it's probably different for everybody. What's your generic advice?
Sure. I would say that it's more important to love why you do what you do. Because what you do is going to change, right? Over and over. So for example, I do my taxes right now for my business. Like, I'm putting all my accounting stuff together at this tax season. I don't love that. But what I do love is the impact that I make. So I know how necessary it is to do these numbers and make sure they get to my CPA in an orderly fashion.
Right.
So, but it doesn't mean I'm going to become a professional CPA. I become 90% active in what I love to do, which is the teaching, speaking, coaching. So there's a little bit of a differentiation.
And being on YouTube with me?
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, that's why I spend time on Monday recording this. But I would say that's why it's important to know why you're doing it, because that you have to love. If you don't love that, you won't be able to innovate, evolve, or change in your business, which I think is going to be the lifeblood of a growing business for a realtor or for any entrepreneur. So coming back home to, why are you doing it? Why are you sitting there going through your CRM right now, cleaning it up? Because that's not going to be the fun thing that you enjoy.
Right.
Or for some people, it's the opposite. They hate being on video, but they do realize it's kind of an important part of their marketing. So they push through because, you know what, but I love the impact that it makes with people. I love people helping find the spaces that they're going to call memories for the rest of their life. So when you have that in the back of your mind, even though you're driving in traffic to show this listing to a new client, even though, you know, you're dealing with this agent who you don't like, but you love your client and you want to see them succeed, that's the important thing, I think, to keep in the back of your mind, because that's what shines through. That's what people feel more than anything else. Because I have more respect for the person who they're kind of doing the daily that I know they don't want to do,
right? But
it's because of why they're doing it that they're pushing through. Make sense?
Love it. Yeah. And how do we strike that balance between work and business, and work and personal life? Because it seems like work is always calling.
So I recently did a Monday Mastery video. So I do these Monday videos that I put out every week for my list. And there was one on
Are they,
how,
just real quick, are they on YouTube or where, or
yeah,
is it just
you
for you?
could, yeah,
They're
if
on
you go to
YouTube.
YouTube, yeah. And if you, I don't know if you want to put in the notes or anything,
Yeah,
but if
I'll
you
put in
just
those
find,
too, but,
yeah, if you just look up my name, go to the Monday Mastery playlist,
and I'll try to put
then
it
you can,
up in the corner too. Your Money
yeah,
Matching
one of
playlist.
these,
Right
one
there.
of these two
Okay.
corners.
Whichever side
Uh,
everything's flipped. You know?
um, and then you look at the one on how how leaders create balance. And I talk about one, yes, you can do the life balance wheel, but the most important part is finding out what it is that you value. Because when you know what you value in life, so let's just say right now in Trevor's life, his four values are, like his faith, his family, travel, and freedom. So let's just say those are his four values. Then you will say yes to and no to things according to those values.
Yeah, yeah.
So to me, that's more balance because those are the things that are important to you, right? I don't necessarily think it means 20% here, 20% here, 20% here, 20% here, because you might not value, let's say, going to the gym 5 days a week as much as somebody else, but you're cool with 3 days a week and then spending more time with your kids.
Right.
For you, that's balance. But for some other person who health is major priority, that's not balanced at all because they need to be at the gym 6 days a week.
Right.
So that's why it's more important to find your values and then schedule. Schedule is part two to this. You have to schedule your priorities. So I always say your calendar is a reflection of your values. That's all your calendar tells me is what I really value. So right now, most people only have their clients and their meetings and their work on their calendar, right?
And no time for wife and kids.
Right.
Scheduled.
And they tell me like, no, but I love my wife more than anybody else on the planet. I'm like, cool. So where is it on the calendar that you have date night with her? Or that you guys are going on that family vacation in 6 months? Oh no, Kamille, I can't because there's just so much going on with work. Then is she really a priority too? Yes, because I work for her. I'm like, okay, then tell me next time you speak to her, ask me if you working 90 hours this week makes her feel so loved and cared for.
100%.
And then they'll be like, oh, but that's not fair then because, she's always going to want more love and attention. I was like, it's not that she needs more love and attention. She just needs a little bit more than you're given right now.
Yeah. She needs
And
some.
so,
She's got to get on the calendar.
Right. And vice versa. I see a lot of women who they are so busy knocking out their to-do lists and tending to their kids and the household. And they're like, I don't even have time for myself. You want me to be nice to my husband? I'm like, well, yeah.
Yes.
And I was like, I know it's not easy, but remember, there was you two before there was also all of them.
Yes.
And so that's also a big part of my mission as a peak performance coach is to help you just crush it in your business, but also that your family life rises too. Because remember, mine kind of fell apart. And so I do believe that with the right community of support, the right tools, and essentially the right investment in yourself, you can have both. I believe that if my parents had what I'm providing for a lot of agents and entrepreneurs now,
right.
we actually might have survived and thrived past it. My parents are great people, but we didn't have what I see a lot of realtors and entrepreneurs have access to now, information-wise and coaching-wise.
Right. It's ridiculous available. So have you had any success stories with any of your clients, would you say?
Yes. But I'll be honest.
Anyone you want to share that's confidentially? Or when I say nameless or not?
Okay. So as much as I love speaking and I know that I'm good at it to a certain degree, I hate talking about myself in this regard. Like I'm not good at it, just being real. But I will say that I have received so many testimonials and messages from people, anything from Kamille, you saved my marriage. Literally, we were on the brink of divorce, to I believe I am alive today because of your coaching. I really think that I would have been dead had it not been for you. I have people telling me that they are no longer suicidal. People I didn't even know were suicidal, but I knew that they were kind of going through a depressive state and it was reflecting in their business. To people who, Kamille, I had no business when I first met you. And then now I'm making 6 figures on my way to 7 after our coaching.
Right.
And so it runs the gamut because again, in these conversations, I'm working on you and whatever's going on in here, that's blocking you from full potential. Because I know what that was like. I remember being on the bathroom floor, feeling that same way.
Yeah.
So when I can see for you what's getting in your way of hitting your ultimate level of yourself, then we can together get through the muck faster than going it through by yourself.
And how do you help people get through the muck? How do they find out where their blocks are? How do you do that?
Well, a lot of it is through the coaching process. Yeah. So like even what you and I are doing right now, Trevor, right? But basically and you've gone through this process with me. It's you telling me, okay, Kamille, these are the top 3 things that I'm struggling through this week. I want to figure this out. And then any great coach, and this is the sign of a good coach, they should be asking you more questions than they are telling you what to do. And that's the difference between a coach and, let's say, a consultant. When you bring in a consultant, they have a specialty in a particular area of your business or your life. And so they're telling you, they're the expert, and you're learning from them what to do. So they're telling you what to do and fixing a very specific problem.
Right.
A coach, however, that's a partnership. So I'm not going to be the expert in your life or your business, but I can see things you can't. So I'm going to push you and challenge you by asking you different questions so you can start looking at it from a whole new perspective. Awesome. So whether it's through private coaching, like these one-to-one conversations, or group, because I'd have a group where I coach with every single week as well, and we go through a big live Q&A, that's massive because sometimes you don't need to just talk about your story, but hearing somebody else's story is where you get your aha moment.
Right.
So that's been a really powerful new addition to sort of my world of coaching as well, is the group membership program. Because when I'm coaching somebody else live on a group call every Wednesday night, somebody else eventually chimes in and is like, man, I was going through that exact same thing. I'm so glad they asked that question because I didn't know I was supposed to ask that question.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if somebody wants to coach with you, what do they do? How do they reach you?
Oh, they could go to my website. They can go to The Ultimate Life. So that's lyfe.com. Stands for Live Your Fullest Every Day. Or the fastest way to get a response from me and my team is if you just email coaching@theultimatelife.com.
Okay, and I'll go ahead and I'll link that stuff down below.
Yep.
And then
that'll be the fastest way.
And then you were starting to say something else?
I was just going to say too, and if in the subject, they could just put Trevor podcast or whatever you want them to put there, then I'll know that, okay, I need to make them a little bit more priority because they're Trevor's people.
Take care of them. She'll take care. I promise she'll take care of you. It'll be the best investment you make this year.
You,
I promise everybody. And does your YouTube channel have a name?
Yes. Oh, you could just Kamille Rose Soler. So it's Kamille with a K.
Okay.
And then I have all sorts of stuff on there. I've got a Monday mastery coaching session. You could see podcasts that I've been on. I also do a really special one for anybody who is drawn to it. I do a Tuesday prayer call for entrepreneurs at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we just do a 15-minute short prayer hour for CEOs, entrepreneurs, people in real estate, and whatever people want support on. And that's more on the spiritual side of things. Awesome.
Awesome. So I would encourage all of you, number one, to go to Kamille's channel, subscribe to it, and like it. Watch her videos and like it. And like this video right now. Thumbs up. Like the video. And comment below what your biggest takeaway was from this video. And I got a lot of this. I know if you guys are paying attention, just watch it again. There's so much implementable action here. Kamille, do you have any final parting words for our people?
Yes. So last piece to this is there's always 2 places you're going to lead your life from. You're either going to lead it from love or fear. And so my prayer for you is that you always make love the easy choice, because we need more leaders of love on this planet, both in real estate and any industry that you're in. I'm tired of dealing with people who are in fear unnecessarily. And I'm definitely here to help you overcome that. Because to me, everyone can be a leader of love, and it's massively impactful when you are. So
awesome.
Thank you, Trevor.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being with us today and for the immense help you've given me in my life. And
love you, brother.
We'll talk to you soon. Love you too. Thanks all. Talk to y'all. Bye.
Peace.